Good evening. Oh yeah, that's what time it is. Yeah, here making another one of these. Pretty great. I was having some thoughts this day about man. Man is men and man is man. And one of those thoughts, let me go get it actually. Drum roll. Yeah, I'm back. I took a little moment for myself to just lie down and let the day catch up to me. I was pretty exhausted actually. Today I think I got up and I didn't eat breakfast. Went and started just like cleaning, doing a lot of cleaning, throwing away stuff, throwing away my old possessions, and then putting the other ones in storage, which is storage units are a hustle, by the way. They're good business, but they make good money for a reason. Because a lot of that stuff is just gonna sit there for a minute until I get a bigger place to put it in my storage. That's the reason I had to get a storage unit. But the thought I had about man, nobody sells anything for less than what they think it's worth. They only do less than what they think with their worth, if they think. That one came to me earlier because I was remembering something I think my cousin had said about this family, right? They had this family business, I think something like sausages or something like that, and they sold it. And but they were bitter and mad because the people they sold it to were doing a really good job, but they were broke. And they were mad at the people who had the company now and were trying to do something to them besides just being mad. But I was thinking, I was like, they can be mad if they want. However, that doesn't mean that means anything, because they didn't sell the company for $0, I think. They probably sold it for more than probably. If they weren't crazy or insane, they definitely sold the business for what it was worth, which means it had assets, it had value, it had operations and procedures, and someone wanted to buy it because it was making money. So that means they got money for the business when they sold it. But they blew the money. They didn't do what they needed to with the money. They didn't do what they should have with the money. And now that money ran out, they not only have no business, they also don't have any money. And they're mad. Not because the other person really is doing a good job with the business, but because they didn't do a good job with the money that they got out of the business, which probably was the reason they were thinking about selling it. Like, if it was doing a good job like it was supposed to, and they knew what they were doing, they probably would have just kept the business. They probably would have kept the business if they knew what they were doing, because they didn't have something better to do with the money after they sold it, which is why they don't have it. Because whatever they thought they were doing with the money when they sold the business wasn't a good idea. They didn't think about it. They just did. And that leads me to my next point. Impulses. We as people have a huge variety of impulses. Again, I was lying in bed and I was looking at my hand. I was like, I was looking at the silhouette of my fingers in the evening light, and it casted a shadow on them. And so I was thinking, I was like, man, my fingers are actually not straight. They're not straight at all. And they kind of curve in really odd ways. Like, I can't explain it. They're just, I mean, if you look at your own fan, it'll look like it curves, like just in just ways that are, you would never draw them that way. And I was thinking, I was like, I think most weapons, like swords particularly, are created in the shape of our fingers, in the silhouettes of our fingers. And maybe that's why they're swords. Like for like a saber looks like the silhouette of the ring finger. And it just seemed as like maybe that's where the inspiration for the weapon came from. And on the topic of impulse, however, I was noticing that I was trying to, as I was trying, looking at my hand, I was trying to just hold it still. However, it kept twitching. Like even when had an intention of saying, I'm gonna just hold my hand still and just extend the fingers out, like they were involuntarily twitching. I'm like, I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so that means there are many activities that we as people do, not just with our hands, but with our being, our body, which are involuntary. So since that's the case, since we as people, I know that we as people have involuntary movements and actions that we take, how can I use that to my benefit? And the way I can use it to my benefit is to put beneficial objects and resources within reach. Because I know my impulses will move me to utilize them in some way. Find something to do with them, and that's a natural thing. However, if there's something bad in the area, my impulses will move me to do something with that also, which is probably bad. So it's and the reason I'm saying that is because I'm looking to do better with me. And as a man, it's important that I practice manhood. And I raise myself to be a higher man than the man I was the day before. And with me coming into adulthood, I'm not a young man. I haven't been a young man since I was we'll say 13. 13 to 18. 13 to 16, 17 is a young man. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, you're a man. You may not have the mentality. However, there are people who have the mentality that they are men with all the responsibilities, all the freedoms, the liberties, the practices, the habits, the attitudes, the temperaments, who are men. However, there are a lot of influences in society that'll have you thinking, oh, you're someone's son. Like people will walk by, hey, son, could you do this for me? Even though you don't even know this person. Or they'll be like, people will say, young man, will you so and so and so and so? But that's their perspective. More than likely because they're either someone's dad or they're an old man. So every man to them looks young by comparison. However, you have been a man. You may not have recognized it or had the awareness, but 13, 14, 15, 16, those are the ages of a young man. A man who's 18 has all the liberties of a man who's 30. realistically.